Welcome to Thoughts in a Glass podcast. I'm LaToya.
And I'm Kendra.
And this is a weekly podcast where we share our unfiltered thoughts and opinions on a variety of topics.
So sit back, relax, and join us on a conversation of real, raw, and ridiculously funny commentary.
Period. Every week we do a drink of the night. Kendra, what's the drink tonight?
So tonight's drink is called a Strawberry Coconut Rum. So in your tumbler, your shaker, you're going to put ice. You're going to do 2 ounces of coconut rum. You're going to do, everything that you see on the screen is doubled, so take that into consideration. But 2 ounces of coconut rum, a half an ounce of strawberry syrup, 1 ounce of pineapple juice, and a half an ounce of lime juice. Shake it up. Decorate your glass with coconut cream supreme, and then you're going to pour it in.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I like this
I
one.
love coconut.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
How was your week?
The week was good. Work has been kind of like slow-ish, so I ain't mad at it. You know, I'm getting ready for spring break. I feel like every year around this time, it's like a lull between February and May, where people just, I gotta figure out how to get out of here. I need a trip. I need to do this. Everybody just don't feel like being, and so it's just quiet. Like people don't want to be in the mix. We have, of course, just in the news world, the craziness that continues to be, wigs. Because I be taking people's things from Instagram. This guy call them wig.
Okay.
Wigs cabinet and the bull crap that they doing. What you worrying about Greenland for? What you worrying about other people?
I know,
mind your business.
Me so bad.
Now we 35% tariffs, and they're trying to say, okay, and I'll match it.
Right.
They acting like they the 401k and we'll match you. And you know what's child. And then the pubs. Oh, I don't care about my 401k. He's gonna. I'm like, what are you talking about? But I'm gonna say, and okay, so disclaimer. This is pre-record, like early. We recorded this early. However, however, he said it, and not just in his brain, but on the actual stage. Mm-hmm. President Obama was like, now imagine if I did any of this.
Yes.
I said, thank somebody saying the quiet part out loud. Yeah. We've been waiting for you to say that part, to just say that. Yeah. If he did an inkling of this. So anyway, so outside of what's going on in the news, it was quiet.
Yeah. Week was busy, so work was pretty easy. I'm having the same kind of workflow where it's like we're in between this weird like spring break kind of, people don't really want to be there, but we also have to get stuff done. So it's been like that. And prepping for my cousin's funeral. Not really prepping, but like next week we're going to have my cousin's funeral. So just whatever my family needs to do to like prepare for that mentally, emotionally, etc. And it's mainly my cousin dealing with like all of her mom's stuff. Yeah. This past weekend though, I went to the Charles County Public Library Books, Bites, and Beats fundraiser event. It was super cute. So I should get my book. But so basically they did the fundraiser event. They're trying to raise money for the library. They did an author brunch where they had the author Dolen Perkins-Valdez. Okay. Anyway, she was there. She was doing signed copies of her book that's being released. It came out April 5th. So she's doing a book release. Yeah. Okay. So she did a pre-release for those that attended the brunch. She did like a Q&A. She was interviewed by Talia Cadet. The one who's like, we love a list over here. I'll post a picture. So Charles County Public Library sponsored it, and I didn't realize this, but I guess the Shannon Bland, who's an influencer, she's the one y'all always say Waldorf too far. Oh, So she actually works for the library, and she was advertising this event, and I thought she was advertising it just as an influencer. But when I got there, she was actually working, which I was like, girl, you starting to get like social media famous. I don't know if you're going to be able to like
work at the library.
Yeah. So she was telling me, she was like, I know. She was like, I'm more so behind the scenes now. But she was like, I really wanted to be hands-on with this event. So it was super nice. I was really inspired during the author's brunch. Talia did a great job asking like really good questions to get the author kind of talking. And her answers to the questions and a lot of what she was talking about was just really inspiring for me. I was surprised that there were not more people there. And that kind of bothered me a little bit because her book, she does historical fiction. So her books aren't like the Kennedy Ryans. They aren't like the, some of these like well-known romance authors. Like she's not a Colleen Hoover. So to me, I kind of feel like because it's not what's popular, because it's not what's trending, people don't really gravitate towards it. I want to say there were maybe 25 people at the brunch, which seems small for me. Like, I was like, dang, I was expecting a bigger turnout.
But you know what? So if it was only advertised, like I've had no idea.
Okay.
So I think it's all, unless you're in this area, this is what's on your social media feed.
Yeah. You wouldn't have been exposed to it. Yeah. One of the girls that was there, though, and I thought about this angle, too, because one of the girls that was there, she follows the author. And she saw that the author had posted, like, here's where I'm going to be the next. And she was like, oh, I'm going to be in D.C. I'm going to come down to Charles County to the brunch. So I was thinking about that, too. Like, her books have made, like, the New York Times bestseller list. Like, she's a popular, well-known author. But anyway, she's a DC native, so maybe she does things in the area a lot. Yeah. So it's like, if you don't have to drive to Waldorf, then why would you?
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. I actually was happy. I was like, you know what? I'm glad there's not a lot of people here. Because I got a chance to, like, literally, we were talking to her. Like, it was a Q&A, but she was like...
Right, and missed in the conversation.
In the conversation, yeah. I asked a couple of questions, and I found something very interesting, and I'm sorry if I'm nerding out, guys, but her new book is called Happy Land, right? And it's about a place in the Rocky Mountains of South Carolina where, I think this was in the 1800s, don't quote me on my time, Black people, it's almost like a Black Wall Street.
Okay.
But this place, they were... not engaging with the local economy and the local government. They had a plot of land that they had bought from an old slave owner. So they had bought this plot of land. It was a plantation. She was getting old. Slaves had been emancipated. She didn't have anybody to work her land anymore. Her husband had died. Basically, a couple of people who were fleeing from their area where they were being harassed and all of that, they went up into the mountains. And they told her, like, hey, we will work the land. We'll take care of your land and we will help you. But in exchange, you don't have to pay us, but we want the land. So that was their agreement. She was like, okay, y'all can have the land. She was like, I'll live on it. When I die, it'll be deeded to the woman at the time that kind of ran this place or like had this idea. It was deeded to her and her husband, and then her husband died. So she took over. So the interesting part of the story is that this was land owned by a Black woman back in, a time where that was unheard of. And all the people that lived on the land, they had their own inter-community, meaning that they grew their own food, they ate their own, like they made everything. They didn't really deal with people outside. Now, they did have one source of income. It was a balm that they had made, a liniment that they had made. And they would sell that. That's how they would get like money and different things if they needed it. But for the most part, they were self-contained. And they lived like that for years until ultimately, as you know, white people got upset that, oh, y'all have all this and that. And then ended up getting taken from them. Not to spoil the story, but it ended up getting taken from them. But the way they had their town set up was they were set up like a monarchy. So they had a queen and a king, and they kind of, that their internal government was a monarchy style of government. So there's another book called The American Queen that I read that tells this story also. So I was asking her, has she read that story, if she drew any inspiration from that, to which she said she hadn't read it. And I was very surprised because it's like literally y'all are telling the same story. So I'm interested to read this book to see how different it is from the other book that I read that was the same story. You know what I mean? Anyway, sorry that was a little long rant, but that's what I got into this weekend. Enjoyed that. I found myself like sleep in the middle of the day because that brunch was earlier. So they did brunch, they did a wine tasting, and then they had a book fair. The whole thing was done by 3:00. I found myself like
needing a nap,
passed out sleep at like 4:00. And I was like, why am I so tired? Why am I so tired? And I was like, well, you were up since 8. And then you did the wine tasting. You was drinking wine. Like, yeah. And the wine tasting started at 1:00. So, like, I couldn't put my finger on it. I'm like, why am I so tired? Like, I didn't even do anything. But then when I thought about it, I'm like, yeah, you did. You had a busy morning. So, anyway, that was
fun. That sounds like a good time.
What I was getting into, yeah. So, have you done your taxes? Or do you plan on, like, what are you going to do? Are you going to wait till the last minute? Like, what was...
No, I need to do mine, and I need to do Janae's.
So, wait, you're not going to let her do her own taxes?
I'm going to show her how to do it. I don't need to be in nobody's situation where I'm owing because she done did something wrong.
That's true. This is her first time doing her own taxes?
She's only 18.
I know, but I don't know if she worked before.
She did, but you can't file taxes because you're not legally of age to do any taxes.
If you make over a certain amount, you can.
She wasn't making over.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, because I was definitely filing taxes.
Yeah, no. She wasn't making over. So, we're going to do that. I need to, at some point, get a tax person that left from the IRS.
Yeah.
That knows all the holes and the loops and the loops and the holes.
But even those people, they'll tell you that the rules change. Like, even now, we're doing our taxes based on 2024 guidelines. But next year, 2025, it'll be different.
True. But I think that they are more and have more connections on what is and isn't changing and understands, like, how to keep up with.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
You don't think the technology has advanced to a point where, like, TurboTax and all these other things, especially with, like, AI, you don't think that the electronic systems do a good job of, like, knowing the rules and knowing the things?
Knowing the rules is way different than knowing how to evade, like,
how to manipulate.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I need someone who knows how to use the rule in a way that it benefits me.
Got it.
So, I mean, the people, the Tax Act or TurboTax are going to say, well, if you have a rental home and you didn't rent it out and this, that, and the fourth, that's considered a loss, so you can add this as a loss in your income. Right. They ain't doing all that. They like, oh, you got a rental home? Okay.
Same. I just started mine, and I'm not going to say I'm overwhelmed, but when I get to a point where it's like, okay, now you asking me questions that I don't know nothing about. Or now you asking me for documents that I got to go see if I can find it. You know, I got to log into Fidelity and get any interest that I may have made on any investments. It'd be a lot. And, like,
that's what I need the loopholes for.
Yeah. I mean, but you still have to, like, report it, right?
But that's what I'm saying. There's no way that Trump made all this money, or these people make all this money, Amazon made all this money, but they not paying taxes. Well,
because they get tax breaks.
Again, show me the loophole. I think that they have, like, a person that is actually, like, their knowledge is just tax.
Yeah.
And that's what I need.
And they do things throughout the year. Like, I think what people try to do is they try to get a person to come in at the end of the year and be like, okay, fix it. Versus talking to somebody at the beginning of the year where they can say, okay, here's what you need to do throughout the year so that come next April, we're not having this problem.
You have a tax person on payroll. They can't say, okay, well, what is it going to be next year? Okay, so next year, this, instead of, now we see what it is, let's do this. You need to do this. Put this child here. You know what I mean? Put your children on payroll, whatever you need to do, so that then by next year, we're in a different game.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. We just do what we got to do, but I'm kind of not stressed out about it, but it definitely caused me a certain level of anxiety.
I'm like, what happens if we don't pay taxes?
You get, I believe, up to 5 years that you cannot pay taxes. Mm-hmm. And then after that 5th year, there's like a penalty. But even if you talk to a tax person, I think that you can even ask for an extension and you might be able to get like another. So I think total you could maybe go up to 10 years without filing, right? But then when you do file, you got to file like a collective 10 years worth. And so you better hope and pray that out of those 10 years, you didn't owe, because it's going to be like, oh yeah, so this whole time you wasn't paying, you owed, and now we need $100,000.
No, I'm talking about like if they say, okay, there's no more taxes.
Then we wouldn't have like public services.
Like, what about, so no more state taxes? I mean, that was more federal taxes.
We wouldn't have federal services because that's what pays for it. And then we would lose our jobs.
But they don't be using the taxes like they're supposed to be using the taxes.
Well, they don't, but if they stop collecting them altogether, then
ain't nobody getting paid.
Yeah. I think that's like Elon Musk's argument. Like, y'all getting all this tax money, how are you using it?
But it's not y'all.
Y'all as in like the federal government.
Correct. But then it's like there are people that's, we're using it for good. But I'm like, why is it that people get lifetime appointments? Mm-hmm. They don't have to go. Like, it just be like some stuff. I'd be over it. Because then I'm like, if I work in a place where my salary comes from me paying taxes while I'm also paying taxes, I'm over it.
I get it, but like, what you gonna do? Hey, write a letter to your senator, to your congressperson, and tell them you over it. And
I'm not like, I'm just like, the taxes ain't got to be as high. Like, for the middle class, taxes are stupid.
I agree, but that's where the bulk of the money comes from. When you look at like people, like most of us are in the middle class or low to middle class, most Americans. And so if they're not taxing that group, that's where the bulk of the money comes from. Now, I do agree with the sentiment of people that are in the 1% or making over a certain amount of money should be paying more taxes.
Absolutely.
But that's the constant fight, right? That is the fight where they feel like they don't want to be taxed, and we feel like you should be because you make more money. Actually, I have seen this in real time where I've seen like a person who basically worked their way up and got to a point where he and his wife make a large amount of money. Like, to the point where now their tax bracket is really high. Mm-hmm. I was talking to the wife, and she was saying how she almost feels like she should quit her job because basically when you combine their two incomes, literally half of her check goes towards what they would owe in taxes because of how much money they make. How can we, and they work like jobs, you know what I mean? So they had to sit down and think about like, and I say that because it's a difference when you own a business and you make that much money, you have those business expenses because they are employees, like high level employees. They are not, they can't write off things like they have a business. And so she had to sit down and think about this, like, how can we restructure our lives in a way that we're not being hit by taxes? Because while we're not, super rich, we make more than the
average person. And
that so happens to put us in a place where we're getting reamed with taxes. And so I was telling her, like, what is your tax person saying? And she was like, really, is the only option is to like start a business because it's really nothing. And then all their kids are grown, so they don't have dependents that they can claim. Their house is paid off. So what ended up happening with them is that they got to a point in their career where she retired, but she went back to work, and so she gets a retirement check and she's getting a high salary as a consultant. He worked his way up to the top of his career field, so he making well over $250. When you put it all together, they probably make about $600,000 a year between the two of them, right? And it's like, it's no shade, no tea. Like, they worked hard, they did that. But it almost feels as though, like, the house is paid off, the car is paid off, they put their kids through college. It almost feels like you're getting punished for
doing the right thing.
Yeah. Because now, here comes Uncle Sam and wanting,
like, oh, what? You thank you.
So, I know I asked her, like, are y'all gonna start? So she don't want to start a business because she's like, I already work. Like, I don't want to start a business. But her tax person is saying, like, that might be what y'all have to do because I'm not really seeing no ways of, like, cutting things down. So I do think that is the fight. That's the argument. And it does get sketchy when you get people who like, all we did was work our way up. And so we're not super rich, but at the same time, we're not super poor. And because of that,
you're stuck in the middle.
And you get punished with taxes. So
yeah, I'm like, do you do an Airbnb? Do you get into that kind of like real estate business? I mean, I think that would be beneficial.
They do have a rental property. It still ain't enough. Yeah. Especially because that was their first house that they had bought like years ago. So it's like they don't own no more interest on it. It's a lot. But then I'm like, and we joke about this because I'm like, y'all blessed. Because like, what a wonderful problem to have. We make so much money. We don't know we're trying to figure out how to reduce our tax bill. Must be nice.
I'll be starting me a Cinnabon or something. At the right Forestville Mall.
Her husband thought about that. He wanted to open up a Chick-fil-A. But then when he applied to be a franchise owner, they told him he would have to quit his job. Fun fact, if you want to be a franchise owner of a Chick-fil-A, their franchise owners have to work there full time. That's one of Chick-fil-A's caveats in order to own a franchise. You have to be a full-time, like, not really supervisor or manager, but basically there's certain responsibilities that the franchise owner has to do. And Chick-fil-A wants you to devote your time to that. No. But I told him, I was like, why not like a Dunkin' Donuts, a Krispy Kreme, Tropical? Like, there's so many other things you could do. But at the time, he loved Chick-fil-A. I mean, he still loved Chick-fil-A. And so he was like, if I was going to do it, it would be Chick-fil-A. But
mine would be either...
You say Cinnabon. I like that idea.
Cinnabon, definitely, because we don't really have any close. And then, but people they tripping out on the sweets and stuff now.
Yeah, they
like,
do.
Oh, I'm not doing no sweets.
But, I mean, whatever. There's plenty of Cinnabons that are still in business. So somebody eating them somewhere.
Eat them. I would do a Cinnabon. I would definitely have... you know what I would probably do?
What?
I may do rehab housing.
Okay.
And flip stuff. I would do that. Mm-hmm. And I would be able to... I feel like... I would still be able to work my job, but I just wouldn't do the overtime. Mm.
If I did a business, obviously outside of all the other businesses that I already got my hands in, I could see myself you know what I would love to do? Like a sweet greens or like a chopped, especially in the Waldorf area. Mm-hmm. We do, but they be little hole in the wall. Yeah. I would want a franchise salad place.
You know what you would do good at? Over there in Clinton, where they have that One Life. Mm-hmm. Right there by the...
I feel like anytime there's a gym, you should have a fresh food option next to it.
They have a Panera there, but they don't have a...
just a salad
but
place.
They do have a tropical smoothie.
I mean, yeah. I like the idea of going in and building a salad bar. Just going in and building my salad. Yeah. As opposed to Panera and tropical smoothie where they're kind of pre-made already.
I think that would be good there. Or if you had, if you had it over there by the Golds.
Yeah. So yeah, taxes. We gotta figure it out.
We gotta figure it out.
We do. If y'all CPAs, hit us up.
Hello. Talk to me. Help me. Help you. Help me.
So, are y'all doing anything for spring break? I mean, I know we pretty much... Wait, when is the kids' spring break? Or do they already have it?
The 14th.
Okay. So, it's coming up. Any plans? Are you doing anything? What's on your mind?
So, no. No. Hell no. It's just I'm thinking about taking them to Six Flags one day. Because it's open that whole week. But it's only rides, so it's not I can take the baby to the water park. Yeah. So, and I think he likes rides. He was fine last year, but we'll see. What? Let me tell you, what Jonathan gonna say to me? So, when's the next cruise?
They're spoiled. You got them spoiled. Yeah, I agree with him. When's the next cruise?
I said, what 9-year-old is talking to me like this? And Jayla was like, thank you, Jonathan. When are we? And I'm like, things are costing money.
Yeah, Jonathan, wake that up. Are you planning? Like, what's going on? What's the plan?
I said something, right? I was like, I think we should do something. But the problem is, all these damn planes is falling out the sky.
So I was talking to my family about that as well, because my sister's been trying to do something, especially now that she has her baby. Like, she want to do all the things. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, girl, he only one. But I get it. She a first-time mom. She want to do other things. Mm-hmm. So she was like, oh, we should do something. We should go somewhere. So I was talking to my family about this. I'm like, okay, well, what do y'all want to do? And Chris, was the first one. Like, I ain't getting on no plane. So wherever we go, we driving somewhere.
But he ain't getting on no plane and he ain't getting on no boat.
It's Sydney too. She like, oh yeah, I don't want to get on a cruise. I'm like, you went on a cruise with me and Kendra and Tiffany, and she was like, you tricked me. I didn't know it was a boat. She said,
you had a time.
She was like, you said we were going on brunch. And I said, you didn't even realize we were moving. So I don't know. I think for Sydney, I could probably convince her. But for Chris, he's real stubborn. I think a cruise would be nice for like the family, only because like everything is included and we don't gotta worry about nothing. Like,
and everybody just do their own thing.
And once you pay for it,
you're done.
You're done. I don't have to worry about, like when you take family vacations and you go out to eat, you looking around like, well, I know this person don't got it like that, or somebody gotta watch the baby.
You gotta eat in everybody's budget.
Whereas on the cruise, if my sister wanted to, she could send the baby to daycare. You know what I'm saying? And if we all want to go to a specific restaurant, we just need to make a reservation. We don't have to worry about who can afford it, who can't afford it.
Pay your $50 or you don't go.
Right.
You go to the buffet, it's fine.
So I think a cruise would be a good option. But I also thought about that TikTok that I showed you. So I thought about what are some things that we could do locally within driving distance that would still be fun.
Yeah.
Tennessee is still on my list. Have y'all been?
No, so excuse me. We've been talking about it, and I'm like, I feel like it would be fine to get up in the truck and drive to Tennessee. Like, I don't think it would be a big to-do. That would be taking off a week and really just going and enjoying, like, spending time there. Because that's on the list. The thing that's really on the list that he really wants to take the kids to, because he really wants them to learn, even just do a learning experience of skiing in Denver, Colorado.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm not driving there.
To Colorado? No. I'm not. Listen, I'm never going to be the person to tell you to drive somewhere, because I don't even like driving myself. But if you with somebody that does like driving, I feel like Colorado's not a bad drive.
Now, I told him I wouldn't mind it if we had the RV.
Oh, that'd be cute.
He was like, RV.
See, the thing about him is, he say that, but then as soon as one of his homeboys be like, oh, I got the RV.
He in the RV. He's
especially because you should take him to one of these RV shows. Sees like how nice they are. So he might be sold on it.
I've sent him like a couple of things on Instagram, and it was like laying them out. He was like, I can see that.
Yeah.
I said, yes. So he was like, let's just go to our RVs. He's like, so now it's not about getting our RVs. He's like, so where we going to park it? I said, there's plenty of places that allow you to park there.
And once you, whether you buy one or rent one, once you get it, they'll connect you with different resources.
Exactly. And so he was like, all right, so we're supposed to be going to an RV show. We were supposed to go to one this year. I think it's done. But yeah, so we're supposed to go to an RV show. That's my big. I'm like, if we could get an RV, I do like driving. It reminds me on Meet the Fockers when they did. No, not Meet the Fock. It was Meet the whatever. Meet the Fock.
Or was it the other one? Not Meet the Fockers. Was it Meet the Fockers?
Because his last name is Focker.
Is this the one?
It's Meet the Fockers, because the other one is Meet the Parents. Okay. So it's Meet the Fockers. Okay. And they drove from New York. Okay. Down to Miami. Right. And they were in that RV. And that RV was... Yeah. Creme de la creme.
Yeah, I like the idea of that. I just don't like to drive. So I would have to get Judah or somebody to drive it.
And then... I was like, I want us to go...
My family, we used to do that a lot. Like we used to go to Yogi Bear Camp, the wilderness. It's like glamping in a way. So they would have cabins, but you'd have to bring your own stuff. And then they did have some outdoor tent areas where you could pitch your own tent and stuff like that. I never did that, but it's doable.
Yeah, so I've looked at there's places around here where you could do the cabin situation, or you get your tent, this and forth. Because sometimes on like YouTube, I'll do the ASMR like when they're pitching the tent and it's raining, and all you hear is the on the tent, and all you hear is this, and it gives me warm feelings all throughout my body.
It's just the thing is that you have to do like I guess for me, I'd be a little lazy and I want my convenience because you gotta do everything yourself. You gotta get there. You gotta put everything up. You gotta set everything up, and then when you leave, you gotta take everything down, pack it back up. I'm over that part. If somebody would put the tent up for me and take it down for me, I'll go.
Because the one that I see, and it's $600, so I was like, But the ones that they be using on these shows or these TikToks, it's a blow up tent, so it's not the ones that you have to put together like that. So it's the blow up ones, and then they have these little pieces where you put the hot stove and the pipe goes on the outside, and you put the wood in so you can cook, you like really cook. And they have their blow up beds, and then one of them has like the sink. They have all of these things. So the only place that you would have to go, like there's one lady, it's this one black lady, and she has all of the stuff. And she just went out for the weekend. And when I say to me, I was like, for the weekend, you just had too much stuff, like to have to put up. But she had like the lights that went around the tent on the inside. It just looked.
I know, it's so cute,
very nice and serene-ish.
But I don't be wanting to do all that work, and so then I end up spending more money because I'll find like a company that sets it all up for you. Yeah. But then it's like, girl, this is supposed to be like a cheap little camping trip. Yeah. But I don't want to do that. Absolutely.
And I said, I get that. But then also, if you have things packed the right way, I think you can really, like, if you don't have it just thrown in the car, you could really get, like, it could be a very good experience.
I think when you start camping as a kid, if you keep up with it, then by the time you get older, you're kind of, like, used to it. Yeah. But if you stop and then have to, like, jump back into it, it'd be like, oh, I got to do all this. Yeah. Yes, you do.
And I said, well, why we can't just start in the backyard? And then the girl's like, it's squirrels! I said...
Now, camping in the backyard... I would do that just because I know, like, if I'm over it, the house is right there.
So last night, right?
You should do that. You should put that on your list of things to do for spring.
It's like camp outside. But then I'm like, now I have to get these tents because the tents that I would like, I want one that's like, because I've seen them. They have like the room, and then they have like the living room space because they have like their little chairs. I mean, these people have.
But for a backyard camp out, you ain't got to do all that. You could just get like you could get like the little tent, like the little.
No, I need, if I'm gonna give me a tent, it's gonna be a tent because it's not gonna be something I'm just using for this. Right. I'm gonna use it for other stuff because my hope is that because one of my old coworkers, I sometimes see her stuff pop up. Some of the things that she does with her family, they do like a camp out overnight. I don't know if you I'll tell you her name. You might know her, and I've seen them do it. And they have like movies and stuff like that. And
they do it on the beach.
No, they were at somebody's house. Okay. And I was like, that would be like, and now the whole family's there. And they get up and they have their coats and stuff on. Somebody's making coffee. And I'm like, I want to do that. And everyone's like, it gets cold, it gets hot. This black lady that I saw that was camping, when I tell you she had an air conditioner.
Inside her tent?
Yes. Wow. Because she had it plugged up to the battery pack. So it's like the small, like regular, the ones that you just need a window. Her tent was nice and cool.
I believe it.
And she had fans.
I believe it, but I don't know. I don't want to do all that. Maybe I need to find me, like, I just need somebody to do it for me. My husband don't like to be outside. See, so that's the other part. He got bad allergies, the bugs.
I feel like it would be such a good time, especially, like, during the fall where... It's kind of like, it's like nice in the, during the day and the evening, but it's a little nipply in the morning. Mm-hmm. So you get up and then you just have your little coffee and, whatever.
Do you think, like, what do you guys do for, like, how do you take a luxury vacation and make it affordable? Or do you even think it's possible?
Yeah, so number one, doing it off season when it's not super popular. And then... figuring out like how sometimes you have to bring your own stuff to make it a little bit more luxurious, because to me, it's like you really only need the space, and you could do all of the things to make it nice. I don't be watching, so I can tell. So, I'm taking Davon to Atlantic City for his birthday, and we taking the train up. And I was like looking up how much it would cost for somebody to decorate the room, so it could be decorated before we get there. And so I'm still contemplating. But for what I would like them to do, like to have the birthday number up and things like that, it was like almost $600.
That's actually not bad
for somebody to just for them to do a room.
That's not bad.
If I'm already having to pay for the room, get there,
I know, but I'm just saying, like, as somebody who
decorate,
yeah, that's not bad.
And so they like just to do like I think it was like maybe an arch, maybe the big number,
around $250-$300 just for like balloon arches, and have charged that for, you know, other people's events. So that's like the going rate.
Yeah, but I get it, but I'm also like that's how my mind works when it comes to a luxury thing. It's like
instead of spending the money on that, I can spend it in other places,
and I could do it in other and still have it to be what I'm looking for. Yeah. So like when we went on the cruise, right? Yes, I could spend the money on a drink package or take the time and bring the sodas, just do like my drinks sparingly or whatever, and then use my money towards something else. So I think if you decide what's the most important thing, like put everything in perspective, right? So if your luxury thing is, I want to be able to do a massage or do this, then there's something else that's like not as high on the list that you're not going to do. Take the time to figure out exactly what you want, and what helps with luxury stuff is having enough time to shop around. Because if you do stuff last minute, you're going to spend an arm and a leg and a thigh. But if you give yourself ample amount of time, you can get a lot of nice things done. It's the same thing with people's weddings, right? When they plan their wedding, when people are like, oh, why are you waiting 2 years? You have more time to shop around. So if you say I got 2 years, so that means you have a year to shop around for people, find a venue, and you don't know at that time if the venue may go down, so the prices, all type of things may go to the different, like how we went to the adventurous show, the wedding show, different things like that.
Different conventions.
The conventions and being able to kind of network. I think all of those things help with luxury. Because I tell you what, we was at the Traveler show, and I'm like, I probably could have, because in my mind I'm thinking, this is how my mind works. I've spent $350 on a meal, and they were like, oh, for $350 you could do the land and the sea, where you have a Carnival cruise for like 3 days, and you have a year to use this, and then you could do New Orleans.
Oh, nice.
So the Carnival cruise was like 5 days. I think New Orleans was like 4 days, because I think it was all together. Or was it 3 days? Something like that. But anyway, you had 2 years to use the land, 1 year to use the sea. Okay. So it's just flying somewhere. But the thing right now is just flying somewhere.
But you could drive to New Orleans. You could. It's possible.
Everything
you may not want to, but it's
possible. This is what I really want to do. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. This is what I really, really, really would love to do. Take 2 weeks and do the United States.
Oh, it takes longer than 2 weeks.
But not the whole thing.
What you trying to do? What parts?
So I would do and I wouldn't stop everywhere. So
it take a week just to drive. It takes 10 days to drive from here to Texas.
I didn't say I was going to have to go to Texas.
Well, you said the whole United States.
Not the whole United. So there's certain landmarks.
All right.
Sorry. Let me clarify.
When you said that, my brain was like, okay, she going all 52.
No, absolutely not. My godparents, definitely before my godmother passed away, when the kids were my god siblings were younger, they would start in Southern California. They would go up. And they would hit, like they would come up, I think they would go to, it's like San Francisco. They would come across, because I think she had family up in the north. And then they would come down to D.C., stay like a couple days, go to South Carolina, and then come around.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll look it up. Anyway, but they would do the circle, but they would have certain places that they would want to look at, and they would stay for like a short amount of time. So like she would say, "Oh, we're gonna be here for 2 days. We'll be there for a couple of days," kind of thing, and they would do for 2 weeks. While the kids were on
do like the perimeter. Like
they
like
wouldn't
the
be all
edge.
up on the inside.
Okay.
Yeah, they would have certain things that they're trying to see.
Got it.
Because also you have to be very careful with certain towns for Black folk.
Yeah. So that's what you would want to do.
Yes. In my RV.
In your RV.
Yes.
I like that idea. The timeshares, only because we have one, and I try to look for any opportunity to use it because, yes, we do still pay those damn maintenance fees. I want to get out of it, though. I'm just not ready to ruin my credit to do it. So while we still have it, I try to take advantage of that, too. And it can be nice. We've actually done some nice vacations with the timeshares. It gets to a point, as my cousin would say. But
that's what Jayla say all the time. Grand
shit.
Canyon.
Oh, the Grand Canyon. Yes,
You see what I'm saying, though?
Yes. You definitely was doing the charades. I was not getting it.
Grand in there. Yes, that's what I want to do.
So that can help too to make like, you know, to cut costs on things. It's like using resources that you have. But I think all in all, especially too with this economy and like with money the way it is, I feel like we're going to have to either not be traveling that much or just get real creative with how we travel like for the next 4 years.
I really feel like I do want to start to kind of get back to more family stuff. And I think we used to have those times and those long car rides to talk, you know, just to see stuff, to talk. And then like flying somewhere and just flying back, you gotten the quality time in.
Yeah.
Because there's no like real downtime. So that's why I was like, even if we don't have like specific places to go, or we're not going just to see this one thing and leave, that's one of the reasons I like a cruise. Sometimes when it's too busy though, and the kids just really like, I promise you, when we went on that cruise, I did not see Jonathan. The reason I knew he was okay is because he would come to the room and it'd be either regular clothes in the middle of the floor and his swimsuit was gone, or his swimsuit was in the middle of the floor and his regular clothes was gone. And that's all he did. And Jayla would go to sleep, take a nap, wake up and eat a burger. Like everybody kind of chilled. So I'm like, maybe I don't know. And I think that's like having RVing to like a Tennessee or RVing to the Grand Canyon. Like I think that would just be fun and awesome.
I think so too. You just gotta get your family on board.
And now that Janae's driving, she's like, I'll just drive. No, you're not. Get in this damn RV.
Oh, she'll probably like fly and meet y'all there. That's what I would do.
Nobody has time for that. You're not a part of this. You got to be a part of the crew. She's like, I don't know. It's not big enough. Oh.
She getting older now. But then be the same one like, oh, y'all did all this without me.
So, yeah.
Well, I think we did it.
Another great episode.
That was another great episode. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification button, tell a friend to tell a friend.
Drop down in the comments.
Yeah. Tell us what you guys have planned for spring wedding.
Are you a flyer? Would you do a road trip? Girls trip, road trip, family road? Like, what would be your ideal trip? What was the other thing we talked about? What business would you start?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
If that's your tax person saying, all right, if you start a business, we could get you these loopholes. What would be your business? And how, like, what would be, like, how would you do it? And that's what I got. All right.